So much camera news. Oh my gosh. I was in the middle of making my weekly video and too much has happened this week to not talk about it. So that video will come out next week, and this week in this video we're going to talk about all that happened at IBC, the International Broadcasters Convention. I did not know that's what that stood for until 5 minutes ago, and apparently it's held in Amsterdam. I'm going to give you my thoughts and opinions, my opinion on all the cameras and tech news that happened this week, and at the end of the video we'll rank my wins and losses, if I thought the news or launch was a win or if I thought it was a loss, and a couple things I think were a loss. So let's get into it. Don't want this video to be super long. So IBC News 2025, Canon C50, huge win for Canon. I'm calling this a win. FX3 style body. We have 7K 60 frames per second. That's not in open gate. I believe that's in 17:9 or 16:9. We have 4K 120, 2K 180. This is the first Canon camera to have open gate. We have dual 800, 6400 ISO. This I think is a great sweet spot. Sometimes 4000 is too low. My S1H has 4000, sometimes it's a little too low, but then your FX3, A7S III, and others by Sony have 12,800, and sometimes that's just too much. 32 megapixel sensor, FX3 style body, huge selling point. This is gonna be very competitive. Full size HDMI, XLR top handle. This is a huge win for Canon. The only thing I'm a little on for Canon and the C50 is no IBIS. It's gonna be a deal breaker for some people. I know many DPs and filmmakers don't really care about IBIS. If they need stabilization, they're just gonna put the camera on a gimbal. But if you're going against an FX3 and want to compete there for especially run and gun shooters, solo shooters, camera operators, the FX3 is a great choice because it has IBIS. So kind of give and take there. Really curious what people think, and eventually when this camera comes out and we have kind of direct comparisons between an FX3 and the C50. Really thought the Lumix S1 II would kind of end being camera of the year, but the C50 might take the crown with at least the hype. At least coming out in this style body, it's gonna be huge. Let's move on. Nikon Zr. First Nikon Red collaboration camera that has R3D RAW in it. I'm gonna call this a loss. I don't think it's a full loss. 12-bit RAW R3D, amazing. ProRes, 6K, 60 frames per second. The huge LCD screen in the back. But then from the videos I've watched Brandon Washington video, watched Mark Bone's video, watched Gerald Undunn's video, a lot of people had gripes with this camera. The form factor doesn't work. Micro HDMI, micro SD card, we have a CF Express card, but then both cards are located right where the battery is. That's not a really convenient place to put media. So it looks more like a travel camera than a cinema camera. Now, this doesn't mean it's a bad camera. I love my S9. It is not a cinema camera, and there's a lot of differences between an S9 and the Nikon Zr. But for a camera that's in that body style, I think it lends itself more to everyday carry, BTS camera, maybe a B camera for some shoots. That's what I use my S9 for. I don't feel like it goes to a commercial cinema camera. And having cinema on the body, Mark Bone talked about it, like there's kind of things that are necessary for cinema and riggability, and there will be manufacturers who make cages for this and make it work, but it kind of feels like a shot in the foot of like, here's our new red Nikon cinema camera, and there's just things that don't make sense, like just odd choices. So seems like a miss, seems like a loss, but I am excited to see what people do with this camera. With that said, moving on, Raptor Xe. Huge win. The moment this news dropped that Red was coming out with a cheaper Raptor that is essentially half the price, I instantly called my friend Rob Trent and we talked about it, and this is crazy. We have a Raptor X now that you just cut the frame weights in half, you take away extended highlights, you take away a bunch of broadcast stuff, you take away phantom track, and you give it to me for $15,000. This is gonna bring so many people into the Red full frame part of their system. There's always been this weird price gap between the Komodo X and the Raptor, and the Raptor X Essential which is what the E stands for, perfectly slots in the middle. And I'm completely okay with less frame rates. I'm very tempted by this. I'm very invested in Lumix and the L mount, but one day when I have PL glass, want the DZO Arls and the DZO Pavos, the red Raptor XE, very tempting, very tempting. So, a lot of cool things there. Let's move on. Fujifilm Eterna 55. We now have all the details, and I'm really afraid to say that this might be a miss or it might be a loss. I really don't want it to be a miss or a loss. It's 1.7 times greater than full frame. We have an 8K sensor. We have Apple ProRes 422 HQ, normal 422, 422 Lite, and then HEVC and H.265. There's 3x2 modes, there's 4x3 modes. I believe there's also some like 239 modes, 16x9, 17x9. One of the coolest features I think on this camera that definitely should make its way into future cinema cameras, we have a place for a normal GFX battery. That way you can hot swap. We have internal NDs. It's fluid. It's not stops between 0.3, 0.6, and so on. 20 film emulations going through kind of Fuji's Eterna, all their film stocks that they have. Those are built into the camera. Dual ISO, 14.5 stops of dynamic range, and it's all for $16,000. Immediately, really cool, especially as someone who loves full frame. The idea of one day being able to shoot medium format, large format makes me really excited. And the form factor of the Eterna looks amazing. And I will say on price, I totally thought this was going to be a $30,000, $40,000 camera. So to be $16,000, it's cheaper than an Ursa 17K. But when we look into this camera a little bit more, I kind of have some questions. The dynamic range seems low. The current camera I'm using, the Lumix S1H, has a total of 16 stops of dynamic range. So for the Fujifilm Eterna 55 to just have 14.5 stops of dynamic range, kinda seems really low. Unless they're like, that's the usable dynamic range and the total is 16 or 17. There's no RAW internal. Blackmagic cameras have B-RAW, your Alexa cameras have Arri RAW, but there's no ProRes RAW or another type of RAW inside this camera. It just feels a little weird. It does say that you can output 12-bit RAW. I'm curious if that's like ProRes RAW, or you could maybe do Blackmagic RAW. I know it says you can do uncompressed 10-bit, like 422 10-bit over HDMI, but yeah, that feels like a miss. And then there's been no reference of rolling shutter and readout speed. I did find that YM Cinema earlier this year found that Fuji released that the 4K on the Eterna does 15 milliseconds. So if the 4K on the Eterna is 15 milliseconds and we jump up to 6K or 8K, and if we jump up to that full width of the sensor and it's like 25 plus, I think people aren't gonna be happy. Like paying $16,000 for a camera to have that bad of a readout speed is gonna be really sad. I mean, that's why people complained about the Burano for so long, of it just didn't have good readout speed. And this is supposed to be this big cinema camera. Although, to give credit to Fuji, the Burano is way more money in the like $20,000 range. A $16,000 camera, albeit it's medium format, I really hope the readout speeds aren't horrible. To wrap it up on the Fuji, I really hope this is not a miss from Fuji. The camera I'm really interested in, it looks really like it's going to be an artist's camera, like something for short films, something for really fun projects. If some of my fears are true, maybe it doesn't go on to be a production camera, like a commercial camera, but even with what we have here, it does look like it's going to be a really cool artist, short film, narrative camera. So I'm excited about it. I think there's really cool features in it, and even though I have some fears about it, really hoping that this camera turns out to be really, really cool once we see reviews and stuff from it. But moving on. Now, this might be honestly the biggest news of IBC 2025, and it's not even a camera. It's DaVinci Resolve getting ProRes RAW support, finally, after years. So excited about this. I will say a little ironic and kind of sad because literally a month ago, I finally bit the bullet and paid for RAW converter, $70 to convert my S1H ProRes RAW files to Cinema DNG. And now I can just do it without having to do that. So a little bummed about that, but I have had a chance to bring in my ProRes RAW files, and I love that I can see my ISO, I can see my white balance, exposure, I can change log formats. They've actually allowed a lot of tools to come in to DaVinci Resolve, and I'm really happy about that. I will say one issue I have come across, and I'm guessing this is a bug that might take some time, and Blackmagic actually got back to me that it's probably a bug. I have some old footage from years ago shot in ProRes RAW for a donut company, Sidecar Donuts in Costa Mesa, if you know of them. And it looks like these 60 frames per second clips have this weird red bar, flicker bar on the side of them. Don't know why, but sent this over to Blackmagic in a support ticket, and they said they're gonna have to try and work on it. I'll probably send them some of the screenshots I'm showing you here. Hopefully this can get fixed and can start enjoying editing ProRes RAW in DaVinci Resolve. I will say everything else looks great. 6K footage looks great. 30 frames per second footage looks great, but interestingly enough, the Super 35 4K 17:9 60 frames per second footage I have has this weird glitch thing. So yeah. Lastly, and another favorite of mine, and it's not a camera, the Aputure Nova IIs. The lux output on these is over 200,000 at 3 feet. My 600D that is over here somewhere is like 96,000. So for these light panels to be twice that, amazing. And using Blur technology, so their color representation is near perfect. One of the best ways to get soft quality light is to have a panel like a Nova or a Sky panel and throw it through diffusion, something like an 8x or a 6x, and to be able to now have this with Blur technology and at the output that these do. Also, they come in a 2x, 2x1 and a 1x1 panel. Take my money. Oh my gosh, I wish I had $6 grand, $7 grand to buy 2 of these. Whew, so cool. Anyway, wrapping up. What, in my opinion, were the wins and rankings of IBC 2025? I'm gonna start in first place, and honestly, I think it's the Canon C50. The FX3 style body, 7K, open gate for Canon, all of it, really, I think they take the win for IBC this year, and honestly, like, camera wars of September 2025. Canon's on top. I would say next, in my opinion, DaVinci Resolve ProRes RAW. The community of filmmakers has been begging Blackmagic for this for years, 5 years, 10 years, maybe even more. I don't even know when ProRes RAW was invented. So I think that's number 2. I would then put third, Red Raptor XE. I don't think anyone saw this coming, and the fact that Red is now, and Nikon, giving opportunity for people to have a Red Raptor X, albeit slightly handicapped, for half of what it used to cost, huge. Number 4, I'm gonna say Fujifilm Eterna, 55. Now, I think there's some things people wanna know, worried about some stuff, but I think in terms of like, people have been wanting to know about this camera for so long, I'm gonna put that at number 4. Next, I'm gonna go Aputure Novas because as a DP, and I'm chasing the softest quality of light possible for all the commercial stuff I do, Nova IIs. Want them so bad. Lastly, in number 6, in my opinion, Nikon Zr. In terms of like winning IBC, I think a lot of people have said more negative things about that camera than positive. Again, as a Lumix shooter and the drama that happened about the S9, the Nikon Zr is probably a great camera, but marketing plays a huge role in it. and also choices. And maybe if the marketing was more, we made a fun travel camera that can do photo and video, and we just put our 3D in it for why not, instead of saying this is the next cinema camera from Nikon. That change in communication might have changed how people perceived the camera. So I'm gonna say that's kind of, it's a miss. I don't wanna be that harsh on it, but yeah, I think there's some just weirdness about that camera. So if you loved my thoughts on all these cameras and things that happened at IBC 2025 this year, would really appreciate if you subscribed to my channel and liked this video and dropped a comment. Honestly, love getting to talk to people in the comments. It's one of my favorite things about running a YouTube channel. My goal for the end of this year is 500 subscribers. If you want to help me with that, that would be amazing. But until the next video, I hope you have a wonderful weekend or day or Tuesday. I don't know, whenever you're watching this video. So yeah, hope you're doing well and look forward to seeing you in the next one. Have a good one. Bye-bye. So much camera news.